Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 643 of the DrunkNerds podcast. I'm host as always. I'm Tyler, and joining me we have the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
I'm feeling pretty good, Tyler. And I'll tell you why is because I actually have another week off from my workplace
Nice.
now. So it's like I'm going to be not only getting some more rest and stuff, but also getting some more tasks around the house done. So I'm going to be ending this year hopefully with a on a good note and stuff. So the next year is going to start with little issues, hopefully. But other than that, though, I mean, it was Thanksgiving this past week. Had some plenty of good food.
Oh yeah, so good.
Plenty of good paste, like good pie stuff as well, like chocolate pie, freaking pumpkin pie, all this other stuff. It's just some good shit.
Yeah.
But on top of that, definitely there were some Black Friday deals that were willing to be had and stuff like that. And yeah, I wasn't immune to these sales either. I didn't go crazy, crazy, but what I did do is I did acquire a couple of different games. I'm not going to divulge them right this moment and stuff because, well, that's for me to know and for everyone else to find out a little bit later. Not today, but soon. But yeah, man, I'm just doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm all right, man. Clanging and banging as always. Still doing the physical therapy and all that. Still recovering. I can finally drink again. It's great. I'm not taking my medication for for like pain and everything like that, so I'm able to
Mm.
drink again, which is nice because it's been like 3 weeks without any alcohol, and man, I can just nice to have this beer, and especially with these. I've been staring at these Oktoberfest that I still got.
Uh-huh.
It's my favorite beer. Oh, so it's just it feels so good on. It soon hit the tongue. It's like it's so good. I'm doing all right. Clanging it like I said, clanging and banging as always. Not too excited with me. Yeah, just enjoying nice going over to the family's house and just eating a bunch of really, really good food. Um, I'm an apple pie guy, so it's apple pie. That was fantastic. I was definitely struggling to get into the car to leave to go home afterwards because I was so full. I was definitely struggling. But yeah, no, I'm doing all right. I did not divulge as far as like for myself for anything for Black Friday this year. Yeah, I don't believe I did. No, I did not. I did like I got stuff for other people. I got some Christmas shopping done, so I got a good chunk of my parents' stuff done for Christmas, which is good. So I just gotta get a few little things for them, and then my sister, and I'm pretty much gonna be done, which is nice. So
Oh
I
yeah.
saved a good chunk of money on that. But yeah, I did pretty good this year as far as like not getting anything. And most of the game, like game wise, I usually if it's a game I'm gonna play, I usually buy it when it comes out or something like that. So
Mm.
like the only thing that kind of sucked was like the day like I bought like Metaphor Re Fantazio. Like I bought it like on Sunday and then I started playing it like that Friday because I wanted to finish Dragon Age first. And the day I
Yeah.
started it, it was like $20 off. I'm like, God damn it! I could have just wait. If I would have just bought it like waited to the day I was gonna start playing it, I could have saved $20. But like, yeah, no. Other than that, like, yeah, I mean, like, I really haven't missed out too much. And honestly, kind of just like I at this point, I just kind of avoid like Wario 64 and stuff like that. So, yeah, but no, I did pretty good overall. I think on saving some money and stuff like that. But other than that, I'm doing pretty good. But in case you don't know, in case you don't know what we're doing here, I'm Tyler. That's Gables. We've been doing this for over 11
Mm.
years now. We do this. We have full time jobs. We do this for fun. So if you guys, we don't ask for money. There's no really way to send us money. The only thing we ask for is a few clicks of the buttons and maybe some little bit of your time here. So if you can like, subscribe, follow, 5 star, leave a comment, whatever you can do, shares with your friends and whoever out there. We'd really appreciate it. We're on YouTube, we're on Apple Podcast, Spotify, any podcast service, we're on them. Like I said, leave the reviews, 5 stars, like thumbs ups, whatever you can help us out. Hit the subscribe. Big thing you can really help us out with, honestly, is we're really pushing the YouTube channel. We've been stuck in like the 460s for like feels like months now, but it's probably been like 6 weeks. Um, if you can help us out, we hit every metric on YouTube as far as like being able to generate like some ad revenue. So it'd be
Mhm.
nice. If, we just need to get some more subscribers. So if you can help us get there, that'd be fantastic. So like that's why thumbs up, comments, stuff like that, shares, really help us out if you can do that for us. But yeah, anyways, Gables, we're here. It's kind of a special one this week. So we'll talk. If you're an audio listener, you'll be fine here. But if you're watching on YouTube, this might be a little bit easier because it's gonna be a lot more visuals because this is we're doing our annual. Let me switch the screen over for the video watchers here. We are doing our annual Game Awards predictions. So we're doing the 2024 Game Award
Mm.
that's coming up in a couple weeks. We were going to do it last week, but with the holidays, here in America, we figured there was going to be a lot of news, and there wasn't. So kind of glad we kind of this for a week. So we're not going to go through every single category. We're only gonna like really talk about like the ones we know. So like if like there's a couple like I won't have much to say on. So if Gables, you want to jump on some of those, you're more than
Sure.
welcome to do so. But there's gonna be some that like we are just not qualified to do so. Um, do you feel qualified to talk about any of the esports stuff, Gables?
Well, I know enough to where I feel like that it's I could say a little bit about them.
Okay, because I don't know who any of these people are. All right, we're starting off here. Best esports team. We got Billy, Gen G, Navi, T1, Team Liquid.
Easily, it's going to be T1 because they're one of the best teams in the world in terms of like Leagues of Legends and stuff. So I would definitely say that if anyone's going to be winning this, going to be winning this outstanding performance and stuff, it's going to be T1 because I think that they went through and won the championship in like record time or something like that,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, they are definitely the odds-on winners of this one.
Okay. Um, it'd be funny if Navi wins this and then Nintendo sues them. So, um,
I
all right.
know, right?
Best esports athlete. We got 3-3. Alec Sib, Chavi, Faker, Zai Wu, and ZMJJKK. Um,
It's going to be Faker because he's a part of that the group T1 and stuff like that, and he's pretty much the most effective member of that group and stuff.
I really
Consistent MVP.
I really appreciate those Gables that I jokingly told him like 3 weeks ago that I want a full report on the esports stuff, and he actually did it. So I really appreciate the fact he did this.
Well, I took it as like, oh, hey, well, he's not going to do too much in terms of this stuff, so let's see if he'll actually do this. So
I,
that's exactly what I.
I mean, we usually skip this categories. I just thought it'd be funny when I saw the ZM I'm like, okay, what the fuck's going on here? I feel like I'm being fucked with here. Like someone's pulling a rib on me. All right, best esports game, Valorant, Mobile Legends, Bang Bang. I didn't even know that was a thing until right now. League of Legends, Dota 2, Counter Strike.
Okay, if I had to pick one in terms of like the best esports games, I mean, I know Dota 2 has been around for a while.
I'm saying
I've
Valorant.
never even heard of Mobile Legends Bang Bang until this year. Valorant's been fairly popular. I'm still going to say League of Legends is going to be the best
Okay,
esports game.
Mobile Legends, Bang Bang sounds like a probably like something that's big in like South Korea or China or something like that.
Who knows?
Yeah. All right. Content creator of the year. I literally never heard of any of these people. Until Gables showed me some queso videos before this. Queso, the person, not queso, the food. We got Ilo Wan, Techo Gamers, Typical Gamer, and Usada Pecora.
Okay, so basically, Queso is probably the most popular in terms of like the streamers here for the content creator of the year and stuff. Basically, his whole shtick and stuff is like he'll play certain video games for his audience. He'll do like some reaction videos, but a lot of his uh, a lot of his like fan base loves to do like fat jokes on him and stuff like that, or like just love to send him all these like kind of like ribs and stuff like that. These loving ribs and something. And of course, he gets so offended by it and stuff that he'll literally just like just start like just getting legit mad at his audience.
Okay.
So it's actually kind of funny to watch some of his reactions. Like I think one of the ones that I was watching or some that a fan made a video of him and stuff of him playing Subnautica and stuff, and it's just basically him in this wetsuit, and he's so big and stuff that literally his ass is so detailed or something
Jesus.
like that and stuff. That one was just a funny one, but Elawan, I didn't really have a chance to watch too much of his content and stuff. Tech Gamers and stuff like that, I think does some basic like gaming content. I know Typical Gamer does a lot of like Fortnite stuff, and I think he was actually playing with Snoop Dogg at
Oh,
one point. I think for it was just a random off the cuff thing to where he was like he just happened to get in contact with Snoop Dogg and stuff, and they just started playing Fortnite together. And Usada Bikora, she is one of the streamers in Japan that's fairly popular and stuff. I mean, she kind of does this kind of like the typical things that some like anime VTubers and stuff do and stuff. She loves to play various games, loves to do like reaction to some different types of stuff, but I'm not too sure where this rumor got around or something like that, but apparently, like Usada Bakura is one of Hideo Kojima's favorite streamers, so
Hmm.
it's like, oh. But after all that and stuff, I think that Queso is pretty much the dude that's going to be taking this Content Creator of the Year award because, well, I think it's because of how popular he is, like not just with his audience and stuff, but even with like other streamers, like say like Kai Cenat and stuff, and like Moist Critical, and like there's just other types of connections I think he has as well. But he is probably easily the favorite of this category.
Okay. Okay. All right. Let's move on to we'll get to the actual categories here that we actually probably have some general understanding of. We're gonna start off
Okay.
here with most anticipated game, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, Ghost of Yote, um, Grand Theft Auto 6, Metro Prime 4 Beyond, Monster Hunter Wilds. I feel like this is pretty obviously GTA 6, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's GTA 6.
Yeah.
There's no other game in this category that's even close. Monster Hunter Wilds definitely has a lot of excitement around it. And yeah, sure, you're going to have people that are going to be very excited about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, but let's be practical here. The one of the biggest gaming events that generally happens like once in like maybe 10 years or something like that at this point is a release of another Grand Theft Auto game, and this is by far the most anticipated game of
The
pretty much of
last
this
decade.
decade.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the last 10 years and probably the next 10 years. So, yeah, like to me, like, yeah, I'm more excited for like Death Stranding and Ghosts, but like, yeah, it's like one of them's like one of them's gonna be like a fucking holiday, you know? It's gonna be that old school feeling we had back in like, when we were kids growing up, when like, or like even like when we were teenagers, like that 360 era when like, you think of like Halo 3 coming out or like Mass Effect or the new Call of Duty, like those were like events. So,
The
uh,
last major event we had with gaming was back in around 2011 when Skyrim released, and even maybe no, that's not the last
no, like
major
when we
one.
had like
I th- I think Baldur's Gate 3 started becoming like
Well, I'm talking about like
an event in itself.
more like we're talking about the masses like outside of the gaming bubble though. You look like GTA 5 was obviously like in 2013 was huge. That was an event.
Uh,
Um, yeah, I mean they're like we've had them since then, but they are very few and far between. Like we used to have like I felt like 1 or 2 a year, but now gaming's so big nowadays. There's so many games that come out that like everybody's kind of has their own bubble. So yeah, like
true.
GTA 6 is one of those few games where like it goes past. That's gonna be on everything. It's gonna be everywhere. So
Yep.
uh, yeah. All right, moving on to the next thing here. Best adaptation. So we have Arcane, season 2, Fallout, Knuckles, Like a Dragon, Yakuza, and Tomb Raider: The Legend of Lara Croft. Lara Croft, sorry.
Okay, so I kind of have a feeling this is going to be between Arcane and Fallout
Yeah.
because of their adaptations of their source material. I have never watched a single episode of either of those series and stuff, but I know from word of mouth, especially when it comes to the Fallout TV show series, that it's very faithful to its source material and is generally a good
It's
show.
fantastic.
I feel, but also with like say Arcane, this is like the story of one of the characters from I think it was like League of Legends or something like that, and apparently the art, the animation, and stuff is fairly good with that.
Yeah.
It's a Netflix like exclusive show, and I do know that there have been some releases for like on DVD, Blu-ray, and stuff like that that recently just came out. But I heard that's fairly good. But if I had to pick one in this category, it's going to be Fallout.
Yeah. Um, I think I'm with you between those two being the final two. Like Knuckles, even like Sonic fans are saying Knuckles isn't good. Like a Dragon,
It's
yeah,
okay.
yeah, okay. Yeah, I've heard, but I've even heard like people that like defend like the bad Sonic games, or even like we're saying it was bad. So, like a Dragon, Yakuza, I've kind of heard like it's middling. Even from some of the hardcore like Tomb Raider, I knew it came out. I didn't really hear a lot of talk about when it did come out. It seemed like the reviews were like middling. So like I look at like Fallout here and Arcane, obviously. I think if anything, like I feel like Fallout's probably the biggest of the two, obviously, from like a grand, type of like that GTA type of thing where like Fallout like was like nominated and won awards. But like I think also Arcane like might have a stronger um might have a more hardcore audience that might go out and like vote for it. And it also it does have the recency bias where like season 2 literally just wrapped up, I believe, last week. So
Hmm.
I could see that potentially winning because of just like sometimes like, it is really just like recency of like what like Fallout I think came out in like February and Arcane was happening as these votes were coming out. So um I'm gonna say
Hmm.
Fallout though, but I don't like. I don't know. I don't feel like super confident about it. Um,
I feel super confident saying that Fallout's going to be the
yeah,
winner of this.
yeah. I mean, I love Fallout, so like I'm not gonna be too upset if it does win it. But all right, best multiplayer. We have Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Tekken 8, and Warhammer 40,000 40K Space Marine 2.
Tyler, I want you to chime in. What do you think is the best multiplayer game for this category?
Um, I honestly think it's gone down between Helldivers 2 and Black Ops 6. I don't know. I don't know too like I know like there's an audience for like Warhammer, but I don't know if it's how big it is. I think Tekken 8 is kind of a thing where it's like fighting games sometimes are just like not as big of a platform. So at certain points it turns into like popularity of who how many people played like more people probably played Helldivers and Black Ops more than these other three games. That's kind of what it comes down to. Um, so I mean, I don't know. I feel like so Call of Duty gets nominated like probably most years, um, and it's never won an award. And I feel like this is probably its best chance to win it than any year it's ever had. But I'm just gonna say I'm gonna say Helldivers 2 just because that was a phenomenon there for a good couple months there.
Hmm.
That was everywhere. Like you couldn't open up TikTok, you couldn't open up like I mean it was on everything. It was everywhere. Like it it went beyond the gaming circle. It became a big popular thing where like the servers were down and more people like it became like people just like the FOMO kicked in where like the servers went down and like they were still like people they were telling people like to stop playing the game so people can like so they can fix the servers and more people were buying the game because they wanted to get in on this thing so and like they had a rough patch there probably in like the spring summertime but they did like this whole event and they like they kind of pissed off a lot of people by like nerfing a lot of things. They had this whole like 60-day plan. Seems like they've added a ton of content. They've really turned things around. They kind of like all right cool like they've listened to the audience so I think it's gonna be Helldivers too.
Okay, so for me, I haven't really played much of any of these games, like multiplayer wise. I have played Tekken 8, but didn't play online with that thing, so I can't really say verification wise. I know Warhammer 40K, Space Marine 2, it's more of the return of like how certain multiplayer games were, like say back in the 360 PS3 era, if I'm not mistaken, from
Yeah,
what I
they
understood.
had like a whole PvP mode and everything too.
Yeah,
I only played the single
yeah.
player, so I don't know about that part.
But as far as a winner right here, I know Helldivers 2 have been fairly popular. I'm going to go with Call of Duty Black Ops 6 only because that it seems like they really got back together in terms of what made that multiplayer stuff fun to begin with,
Yeah,
especially with the last couple of releases and stuff being all right in terms of that
yeah.
multiplayer stuff. So I'm gonna go with Black Ops 6.
I respect the bit of every year Gables picks Call of Duty and it never wins, but he sticks with it. He's like every year, Gables. Eventually, you're gonna be right. And I feel like I said, I feel like if there's a year for like Call of Duty to finally take this category, this is like be like a great like this is like you can't be hard to argue against them winning this one. So, um, all right, let's move on to the next one. Jesus, this is what a fucking joke a category this one is. We have best sports slash racing, F1 24, EA Sports FC 25, NBA 2K 25, Top Spin 2K 25, WWE 2K 24.
You know, when a certain genre of games is having an off year, when you look at the Game Awards and all of a sudden you have a mashup of all these different types of games here, it's like, I mean, pro wrestling is considered a sport in this category. I mean, okay.
I mean, where else would you put it though?
And it's kind of funny how they say best sports slash racing when you have like one racing game in there, F1
Yeah.
24. But as far as what I think is going to win, oof,
Mm-mm.
oof,
Man, I got nothing.
this is a tough one. This is a tough one because I've played a bit of WWE 2K24, and though that was all right, and though the gameplay was all right and all this other stuff, it's like it really started to become a little bit like repetitive and stale, especially when I try to do like other types of things with it. F124 and stuff, that's a consistent series by EA and stuff that it's
Yeah.
gotten decent reviews too.
It's all
EA
annual
Sports,
titles. So it's just
yeah, it's
like,
one of those annual titles. Yeah. The problem is all of these are like annual titles. And so it's like it's kind of hard to distinguish, which one's the best annual title here for this year. It's because most of them kind of reviewed similarly the same, unless like you're like NBA 2K25 to where it's like maybe the late 70s at
Yeah. I
most.
think pretty much all of these are like high 70s, low 80s. Like,
Yeah, yeah, because
yeah.
2K24 is like definitely the low 80s. F124, that's also low 80s. Not sure about Topspin. Not sure about the FC25. And you know what? By default, I'm just gonna go WWE 2K24 only because this is such a weak category that even if I'm not right in terms of the pick and stuff like that, I mean any one of these games pretty much could just be say, oh, okay, I can make a case for each of this
Yeah.
thing
I
because of
mean,
how weak this category is this year.
honestly, the problem is like I can't make a case for any of them because like like they're all just annual sports titles that like came out to like middling reviews and like
Yeah,
we kind of know what they are. So that's
yeah.
I don't know. Like I'm still kind of like I don't like I talked about last week. Like I don't really like oh yeah I'm a fan. I have biases. There's things I'm like I personally like I'm rooting for. Like just because I'm a fan of those type of games, and I was like pretty surprised to see the college football didn't make it in, just because like I mean I know it's gonna be an annual title, but it
Oh
was
my
like
gosh,
coming back
dude,
after 14, 13 years. Like
that is actually one of the biggest snubs right here. They did not include that college football game inside of this
yeah,
category.
yeah,
That would have easily have won this category.
yeah. I mean, most time you look at this category, it's usually like the it's like we usually have a few like annual titles in here, but it's usually like Forza Horizon wins it, or like some like different like non annual title usually wins it, and this is like I don't mean it's like kind of a I don't know, it's like some years you have like a bet like the fighting game category is pretty bad, you know, like we had Sifu win it one a couple years ago. So I'm just gonna go W2K24, but it's like
Yeah,
I don't feel confident about any of these, and like I mean honestly like I don't know, this might be the hardest category just because like nothing is like stands out.
true.
Um, all right, next up here, best sim strategy game. We have Age of Mythology Retold, Frostpunk 2, Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess, Manor Lords, and Unicorn Overlord. All really great games that reviewed really well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, each of these games have their good strengths and stuff, but this is one of those categories where I don't really play a lot of sim or strategy games,
Yeah,
and it kind of reflects in that because I've heard a lot of these things by name. I've actually had them, some of these, like in terms of my my fantasy critic league stuff, like Frostpunk 2, and I think Kunitsugami was also another
yeah.
one, if I'm not mistaken.
I think I had a Unicorn Overlord on my team, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But in terms of which of these would probably be like, I think it's between like two different titles. I think it's like going to be Frostpunk 2 or Unicorn Overlord. I'm going to go with Unicorn Overlord only because that one has had a bit of a lasting appeal with it ever since it released. I mean, the other games released and stuff like that, and they did fine in terms of their reviews, but I haven't heard many people talk more of them, like since their initial releases, whereas Unicorn Overlord is kind of stuck around a bit even after its release.
okay. Yeah, like obviously this is like a category that we don't know super well. Um, I know it's like a lot of people that like that really like Kunitsugami.
Yeah,
There's a hardcore audience for like Age, Mythology, and Frostpunk 2 and stuff like that. I'm gonna go
yeah,
Manlords just because like I don't know, it's one of those things where like it's like so maybe it's like the bubble you're in type of thing. And it's like I hear people bring up Manlords the most on like and like just in like the circles I listen to people on or talk to people like on Discord or whatever. Like Manlords is probably the one that pops up the most. So I'm gonna go with that one just because of like what I hear people talk about the most still is Manor So I don't know, but yeah, it's almost like the sports racing category where it's like,
right.
but like the opposite where like all these games actually reviewed well and there's not like there's a I don't know. Anyways, moving on here. Um, best family game. Um, so we got Astrobot, Princess Peach Showtime, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Legends of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and the Plucky Squire.
What's interesting about this is like this is mostly considered to be the Nintendo
Yeah,
category, and
I
then
got
you
three
have
of five.
Astrobot. It's the most Nintendo one out of
Yeah,
the whole bunch.
yeah, yeah. I'm,
Okay.
I'm just gonna say Astrobot.
You're just gonna say Astrobot?
Yeah,
Answer for family play, irrespective of genre or platforms. I want to say Mario Party Jamboree because that is like a family type game, but at the same time, in terms of quality, I'm going with Astrobot
yeah.
because that definitely is a fantastic game. It appeals to all ages and stuff, and you don't have to necessarily be have to be a hardcore fan of PlayStation in order to appreciate its gameplay and also its addictiveness.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great game that stands on its own. It's just the PlayStation stuff is a plus. But like, yeah, it's one of those things where like sometimes like the family thing where it's like some of these categories might complain is like you can like I think like so many people like you can ask 10 different people and they can have 10 different opinions of like what they think the description of what this means to them. It's like, oh, is it like best game that's like for kids? Is it best game for like everybody can play? Like as far as the adult will love it. It's like Toy Story where it's like the child will love it, but also the adult will love it type thing. Or is it like a game that you could play like multiplayer game where you can play with everybody like a Mario Party? So it's like, I don't know, it's one of the things where I kind of wish like let's narrow down what the definition of this category means. But I'm just gonna say Astrobot because it's by far the best game on this category. So all right, moving on. Best fighting games. So this is the Gables category here.
Hmm.
We got Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. We got Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising. Marvel versus Capcom Collection. We have Multiverses, formerly the 2022 winner, and then Tekken 8. Gables.
Okay. To start off, one issue I do have with this category and stuff is you have three games that are just brand new for this year, and then you have Multiverses and Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection arcade classics. So the Multiverses game won in 2022, and then you have a collection of pretty much like a good span of like 13 games from like over the past like 25 years
Yeah.
in terms of like the whole things
Yeah.
competing.
I mean, we've seen fighting games that have been out previously get because they just add more seasons and more characters. Like, I mean,
True.
Sifu was nominated a couple years ago, so I mean, like, with this category, anything can happen.
Well, here's the thing with me and stuff. I mean, if it were up to me, I'd go with MVC Fighting because that technically has some of the best fighting games ever made inside of that initial set. But oh gosh, as far as the fighting game for this year, whew, I still feel like it's Tekken 8.
Yeah, I think like probably Tekken 8 is probably the best. Like, I'm not like I've only played the MVC collection. And I guess I played Multiverses, a couple of years ago. Um, I'm gonna say Dragon Ball Sparking Zero just because it's got the recency bias and also like, recency bias, popularity. It's like already one of the best selling games of the year.
Hmm.
And it's like Dragon Ball is just a much bigger franchise than Tekken is for like you know, a grand scheme of things. So I'm gonna say
And
Dragon
it's
Ball.
also a game released by Namco Bandai.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, both of them. So they're gonna kind of cannibalizing each other here. All right.
Kind of.
Yeah. Moving on here, best RPG. So we have Dragon's Dogma 2, Elden Ring, Shadow of the Erd Tree, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, and Metaphor Re Fantazio.
I think it's going to be a no contest with Re Fantazio being the best RPG.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm with you. I mean, this is a really great category here. There's like 5 fantastic games, all of which like I think
Absolutely.
all of them are
I'm
like mid 80s to like low 90s, like as far as like overall like open critic scores. Like I think Dragon's Dogma is like an 87 or 86 or something like that. That's like the lowest scored one. Um,
As
but
far
yeah,
as the RPG hierarchy for this category goes and stuff, Dragon's Dogma 2 probably be the bottom of this and stuff with maybe like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. You have Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree, that probably be second place. You have Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. Obviously, it'd probably be the third in that thing. And then you have Re Fantazio, in my honest opinion, it's like number one because of not only in terms of its graphical fidelity, but also its gameplay stuff, but also the ever arching story of that thing, consistently or some keeps on stacking on top of itself from what I've seen and also what I've heard from other people. So yeah, it's I kind of feel like it is a battle between Re Fantazio and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, but I think because of how much fluff was inside of Rebirth, it kind of it's its own detriment to where Re Fantazio I think is going to be the clear cut winner of the category.
yeah, I agree with you. Like, I'll talk about Metaphor later. I haven't finished it yet, but like I'm someone that put 80 something hours in the Rebirth. So, um,
Hmm.
and I say just also like same thing where like recency bias. One came out in February, one came out
In
in
October.
October. So you're gonna have that, and yeah, I think I mean both these games, I believe Rebirth and Re Fantazio are like I think the review scores are like very like I think one or two apart. They're both in like the mid 90s somewhere. Um, I mean, I wouldn't. I don't know. I feel like like definitely like of the like Shadow of the Erdtree wouldn't shock me if it won either. But I think it really it's probably between Rebirth and Re Fantazio. I'm gonna go Re Fantazio, but it's like it's slim
Yeah.
for what I think will win there. Um, Next up here, best action adventure game. We have Astrobot, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Silent Hill 2, Star Wars Outlaws, and Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom.
Okay, it's pretty much between Astrobot and Silent Hill 2 Remaster, with like a close third being Prince of Persia: Lost Crown to me. So I think it's going to be Astrobot.
Okay, all right, yeah. I think I agree. It's one of those things also where like, man, I really like with some of these categories, like best action adventure is a category like I complain about it every year. It's like,
I will
um,
say that Star Wars Outlaws does not deserve to be in this category because that was not a
uh,
good
I
action game.
as the one person on this podcast that actually played it and beat it, I disagree. I like the game. It's definitely not like I don't. I was surprised it's on this list. I'm not gonna lie, but I liked it for what it was, and like it seems like they've done a lot of. They just did a big update to it. And it seems like it's a lot better now. So that's awesome. But yeah, like I was
But
stunned.
Astrobot is definitely better than Star Wars Outlaws.
Yeah, I'm not arguing. Like I said, I'm surprised it made. I'm surprised it made the cut. Honestly, um, but yeah, like I don't know. I played four. I beat three of these five. I played like 5-6 hours of Zelda. I've not played Lost Crown. But I mean that's one of, like a lot of people's like I hear about like that's still like their game of the year or one of like in the short list of games of the year. So I wouldn't be shocked if Lost Crown won it. But yeah, I'm gonna go Astrobot. But I think it's like I agree with you. Where I think it's between Lost Crown, Silent Hill 2, and Astrobot. I'm gonna go Astrobot again. But also like sometimes in these categories, I feel like where it's just like, okay, well, I'm not voting for it here, but I'll vote for it here. So I feel like sometimes that's a game that happens with people. It's like, all right, cool, I'm gonna vote for this game, a game of the year, but okay, but I didn't vote for it, but I'll vote for this game. Yeah, I'm not gonna vote for game of the year, but I'll vote for it, in this other category, so to make up for it. So I wonder sometimes that kind of gamesmanship kind of happens. But all right, moving on here, best action game. Um, I still don't understand what best action game means at this point. We have Warhammer 40K, uh, Stellar Blade, Helldivers 2, Black Ops 6, Black Myth Wukong.
This is a tough category because you have these games, all these games are actually fairly good from what I understand in terms of their action, in terms of their combat and stuff like that. Oh,
I played 4 of the 5 actually. Oh,
yeah, you have played 4 of the 5. I've only played the demo of one, and I've also played a little bit of another one.
yeah,
um, I kind of have a feeling because of like how much like not only just popularity, but how much like people at the fan base really love playing this game. I think Black Myth Wukong is probably going to be the winner of this, with a close thing being probably Helldivers 2. But at the same point, it's like I could make a case to where, Black Ops 6 could be considered to be like in the top for the best action game as well.
yeah. This is a good category. I think there's like 5 good contenders here. I still like. I think it's kind of weird having like Helldivers and Black Ops 6 in this category maybe.
Yeah,
Um,
I do agree with you.
but I don't know. It's one of those things where like action and the action adventure categories, I'm just like I'm kind of confused what they mean by them. Um, But I'm probably gonna go, I think I'm gonna go Black Myth Wukong as well, just because of like, like I said, turns up popularity contest. Fan base is responsible for 10% of the vote, and after the nominees came out, you like people like looked up at like overwhelmingly like the like most popular country to like visit the website was the Game Awards website to vote was China. So I'm not gonna be shocked if like they play a big part in Wukong winning this one. So um, yeah, I'd probably go Wukong, but like, man, this is a good like. I didn't like Warhammer, but it was like I didn't like it because it's not a game that like I went in thinking it was gonna be like more like a Gears game, and it wasn't. So there was more of like I didn't like the game rather than I didn't think it was a bad game. I just didn't, it wasn't what I thought it was wanted to be. But I really like Star Blade. Like it wasn't. I had some issues like towards the end of the game, like as far like I think it kind of maybe stuck around longer than it needed to. But like yeah, I liked all these games. Like 4 of the 5 of these games are sorry, 3 of these 5 games really a lot. And so I don't know, but I'm gonna go Black with Wukong. But like I don't know, it's one of
Okay.
those things where like I think you can make a strong case for all of them. Not for this category because that category is kind of dumb. But anyways, moving on. Best VR AR game: Arizona Sunshine Remake, Asgard Wrath 2, Batman Arkham Shadows, Metal Hellsinger VR, and Metro Awakening. not our strong suit here.
No.
I have a PSVR, but like I can't play VR games because I get sick because I play them when I play them, so I don't play them. Um, Asgard Wrath 2 was like a super popular game that came out like I believe like in December. But it was like a really really well like one of the high reviewed games of the year last year. But it's one of those things where I think maybe it's just because it's been a full year where it's kind of got forgotten about maybe.
Hmm.
So, but I'm gonna say Batman Arkham Shadow because I think a lot of people were really surprised by how good that game was.
Yeah, I'm gonna also go with Batman Arkham Shadow because I've heard a lot of great things about the game, as well as people really saying that is probably one of the main reasons why that they kind of invested in trying to just play certain games in the VR this year.
Yeah, yeah. Moving on though. If it loads. Did I press it? There we go. Best mobile game. So another category. Maybe that. No, Gables is probably a little better at than I am. Um, we have AFK Journey, Balatro, Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, uh, Wuthering Waves. I believe I'm saying that right. And then Zenless Zone Zero.
You know what's kind of hilarious is I've played 3 out of these 5 games and I'm not really traditionally a mobile gamer.
Yeah. Did you play them on
um,
mobile or did you play them?
only one of the 3 that I've played were on mobile. The other 2 were either on console or PC. But as far as mobile stuff, I mean, I've played a hell of a lot of Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, but I've also played a lot of Balatro. In terms of the overall best game in this category, I feel it's a no contest for Balatro
Oh,
because no matter where you play that game, either it being mobile or a console or PC, it's still a fantastic experience. And you pretty much get the same experience in terms of what you do because it's that type of game to where you can play you could play like one game or something like that and make it incredibly hard for you, and it'll just match maybe last for maybe a couple of minutes or something, and then if you really want to go really deep into it and stuff, it'll literally let you for like almost an hour.
yeah. Yeah. Um. All right. Well, I was kind of surprised you said easily there. I, I I think it's between three. I think it's Bellagio, Pokemon, and Zenless Zone Zero. I'm gonna say Pokemon. I feel actually pretty confident it's gonna be Pokemon just because it's fucking Pokemon and also coming out. It really is taken over. I think bigger than like I think Bellagio was a super popular game, but it's like way more popular on consoles than maybe on mobile. I wouldn't be shocked though if Zenless Zone Zero wins just because it's one of those things where like it's Hoyoverse, and that's just a I mean, they're just gigantic. They have a huge markets outside of the United States, mostly in like the Asian market. So I wouldn't be surprised because of that. But I'm gonna say Pokemon just because recency bias and it's fucking Pokemon, and it seems like that game has really taken over more so than the other games have. But all right, moving on here. Best debut indie game. We have Animal Well, Balatro, Mandalorian, Pacific Drive, and Plucky Squire.
This is kind of interesting because there's a couple of different games that are fairly fantastic. Animal Well, obviously, Balatro, The Plucky Squire, they had some great debuts. I'm not too sure about Manor Lords or Pacific Drive or something, but I'm also going to say Balatro for the best indie debut.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one, Balatro. I know like Animal Well obviously was like people are saying it's fantastic. Pluck Squire it seemed like it kind of like underwhelmed, honestly. But I mean this is best indie game or debut indie game. Pacific Drive and definitely had like an audience behind it. Like it was a game I was super interested in before I found it was more of like a roguelike or car like. Um,
Hmm.
road like rather sorry road like is
A
what I call it.
road like,
Yeah, very
yeah.
funny, very clever. But yeah, I'm gonna go Balatro on this one. Best independent game. We have UFO 50, Neva, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, Balatro, and Animal Well.
Now, this is the toughest category yet.
Really?
Why?
Okay.
Because every single one of these games that are nominated for here, you can make a case for each one being the best independent game.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
do know you've played Neva, I've played Balatro, and a little bit of Animal Well. UFO 50 is very honestly, I'm surprised with how well UFO 50 has done in terms of just the reviews and stuff, and also in
yeah.
terms of like how people love this game. But I've also heard a lot of glowing praise about Lorelei and the Laser Eyes because of
Yes.
how smart and intricate the puzzles are, and also in terms of how this game feels,
Hmm.
apparently. Oh boy. I know it's going to be beating the drum and the same old record. I'm going to also say Bellaccio for this one.
Yeah. It's kind of like it's like it's deserving. It's hard to argue against it, but it's like it is kind of like oh man, the same one. Like there's two independent categories, and Balatro's probably gonna take both of them. Um,
Possibly.
yeah. Like I'm not too surprised about the UFO 50 reviews because there was enough people out there like that I listened to that were like really praising this game like coming up to
Yep.
the release. And I've heard a lot of people like praising it since then. Like game sounds fantastic. 50 fucking indie games and like one. Some of those games are like full fledged like like several hour games. Some of them are like small little arcade things. Um, but yeah, like I mean, yeah, this is a really great category. Neva, I played. I cried 6 times. It's fantastic. It's gonna be high on my list. But yeah, I think it's gonna be Balatro as well. So and well deserving. Um, Best community support. Still don't fully understand what this category means, but it is recognizing a game for outstanding community support, transparency, and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates patches. Um, we have Baldur's Gate 3, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Helldivers 2, No Man's Sky.
In terms of community support, I think it's Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Like, what have they done a lot this year? I'm trying. I'm
I'm not
honestly,
sure.
I don't know.
I kind of feel though it's like it's between Baldur's Gate 3 and Final Fantasy 15.
14.
I think it is 14. Thank
Yeah.
you. 14.
Um, I don't know. I'm just trying. I'm not even trying to be like an asshole. I'm trying to remember. I mean, we're in December now, so I don't even like. Um, I don't remember like maybe they did some shit. Like I don't pay too much attention to Baldur's Gate 3, so I don't know what they've been doing. Final Fantasy 14. I mean, I would say the game's super popular. I don't think that like the new like expansion was like fantastic or like people loved it necessarily. Like it was good, but it wasn't like as great as the people expected.
Hmm.
Helldivers 2 obviously went through a rough patch where they upset a lot of people with like they're nerfing a lot of stuff, and then like I mentioned they turned it around the last month or so. They're constantly adding a bunch of stuff, and like I feel like the way they've been like really doing like pushing stuff with like kind of like the over the topness with like the military and everything like that, and all the kind of the fun little stuff. They've been really doing a great job with that. So I think they've been like a fun like social media follow. Um, and just kind of like the campiness of them. No Man's Sky had a
Mm.
big update this year. I'm gonna say Fortnite. Um, yeah, I'm gonna say Fortnite, but I wouldn't be shocked if like Helldivers 2 won it. But I don't know. I mean, problem is like some of these things where sometimes just like if you're not in the bubble, you have no idea what the fuck happens with these with these franchises. So like I don't know. All right, let's move on here to best ongoing game. So we have Destiny 2, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, and Helldivers 2.
Best. That's so weird, dude. Best ongoing game and like Helldivers 2 in its first year.
I think it's just like well, it's like it's not just games of service. It's like it's just also like adding things throughout the year. So like I mean, doing stuff post launch. It's not
I'm gonna
necessarily.
go Fortnite.
All right, yeah. I think Fortnite's strong case here. Um, I think Destiny 2 would have won it if like that big if this was like if all the shit didn't happen. Say, like if like the big expansion dropped like a month ago, maybe like Destiny 2 wins it, but it's just been bad signs at Bungie since like basically since like June. Um, I'm gonna say Diablo 4 just because they've been doing a lot of like been doing a lot of updates and like they kind of upset a lot of people last year when like the first couple seasons and they've really changed it like after that they had the big like expansion a couple months ago. So I'm gonna say Diablo 4. Moving on here, games for impact. So we have close closer closer the distance, Indica, Neva, Life is Strange Double Exposure, Hellblade 2, and Tales of Kenzera Zao.
Well, this is definitely your category, Tyler, because I've played none of these games.
Yeah, I've beat 5 of the 6, and I've never heard of Closure of the Distance. So that's a game. Oh, that's Skybound. Fuck. I have to check the game out now. God damn it. I loved all of these games. Um, oh man, this is a good category. Yes, it's definitely a me category here. Man, Indica is. Oh fuck. I don't like this category. It's too hard. Uh, uh, Neva made me cry. Indica made me think. Double Exposure is just fantastic storytelling. Hellblade 2 is man some of the best voice acting and acting in gaming ever. Tales of Zero Zao, another game made me cry. Also a really good Metroidvania. Um, I'm gonna say Neva.
Okay, you're gonna say Neva. I'm gonna say Indica.
Okay. I mean, I won't be upset by any of those five. Like the 5 of the 6 I've beaten here, I wouldn't be upset about any of them winning. But man, those are all like those are goddamn. This is like you could have just called this Tyler's Game of the Year category. It would be like goddamn.
Yeah, pretty much.
Jesus Christ, man, there's some great games here.
Yeah.
Fuck. All right. Okay, I think this is one we could skip. Innovation of and accessibility.
Yeah, we can skip that.
Yeah, this is not our category here.
No.
Best performance. We have Brianna White from Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I wish they would put who they played. I believe Brianna White was Aerith, if I remember correctly. We have Hannah
Mm.
Tell, who plays Max Caulfield from Life is Strange Double Exposure. We have Humberly Gonzalez from Star Wars Outlaws. We have Luke Roberts from Silent Hill 2. And we have Milena Jurgens, I believe is how you say that, from Hellblade 2.
That's probably gonna be Melina Jurgens.
Yeah, she won it in 2017, so I wonder if maybe that might hurt her because she won it previously. So maybe
I
people
wouldn't
want,
see why not.
yeah, but I mean, like, maybe one of those things where it's like you see that sometimes, in, like even like Oscars and Academy Awards, sometimes where it's like, this it's like the first movie or whatever won a bunch of awards, so like the
Hmm.
sequel they don't maybe vote because they won the last time, they want to get someone new in there. Um, man, I don't know. I wonder because I've beaten all of these games and I liked all of these games quite a bit. But yeah, really, yeah. I would say I think Melina Jurgens should win it just because like that game doesn't work without her. Like she is the crux of that game, as far as
Yeah,
like the voice acting, the visuals, the effects, like her face, everything like that. I'm gonna go her.
she. Yeah, she's pretty much Senua.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like that. I mean, like I don't know, like Luke Roberts, like I thought he was like I don't know I didn't think he was bad, but like and then it wasn't like a standout to me either. So I don't know. I'm not trying to shit on anybody, but I don't know. But I thought everybody in this category did a really good. I thought did a really good job. All right, best audio design. We have Astrobot, Black Ops 6, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, Hellblade 2, and Silent Hill 2.
For in-game audio and design and sound design and stuff, oh gosh, that's a good category. Because while I'm listening to the stuff inside the game and stuff like that, like the sound effects, of this and that, I really am trying to I'm really trying just to nail down which ones were the most effective, like for me, because I have played a little bit of Silent Hill 2 remake and plus Astrobot and stuff. I'm probably gonna go Astrobot with it.
Okay, I'm gonna go Silent Hill 2. I the one of the most important like one of the little things you all think about when you think of like great horror games is it
The
is the
atmosphere.
sounds of the game. It is like I think Dead Space won it last year if I'm not mistaken on that one. Um,
Hmm.
and I think the sounds of a game maybe like are most important than any other type of game than like a horror game. And so I'm gonna say Silent Hill 2 because like there's a couple moments in that game just like where like I honestly had to like mute my TV because I couldn't tell if it was in the game or in real life. Just how like some of the noise in that game. So I'm gonna go Silent Hill 2 just because of that.
You
Best
just hear
score in
something just running up from behind you.
yeah yeah. Um, best score in music. We got Astrobot, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor Re Fantazio, Silent Hill 2, and Stellar Blade.
I think this is gonna be a no contest. It's gonna be Re Fantazio.
Ooh, okay, okay. This is a good
It
category. Silent Hill
is
2, like
absolutely.
Silent Hill 2, like I don't remember like having like a bad one, but I don't like it's one of those things. Also, I don't remember it being standout. I guess either. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, it's been like like 6 weeks since I played it. I guess, but like some of the games I haven't played in months, and I still remember some of the songs. Like Steel Blade
Hmm.
had a really good. I thought it had some good music in it, but it was definitely like we are trying our best here to make like Steel Blade is basically like we're making our own version of like Nier Automata, and like that's basically what this game in a nutshell is. And like even like down to like the music, which it was good. It did a good job of it, but it's like a if like uh Nier Automata is like S tier, like Stellar Blade was like a B plus type of thing as far as music goes. But it was good. I liked it a lot. Like there's like there's some songs there I will go back and listen to. Metaphor v Fantasio playing through right now. God damn, that music is so good. Astrobot, obviously, I mean, I still sing I Am Astrobot every now and again. It's just a fucking earworm. But to me, like, it's got to be Rebirth. Rebirth alone, one, for the opera scene, two, for the Bow Wow Wow song alone. The Bow Wow Wow is like the greatest song in the history of mankind. Uh, and if you don't know it, go fucking listen to it. It's fucking awesome. It's amazing. And I think it should win just because of Bow Wow Wow. So I'm going Rebirth. You said Re Fantazio, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Best art direction. We have Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong, Shadow of the Erdtree, Metaphor Re Fantazio, and Neva.
Okay, so if we're talking about art direction and stuff like that, I mean, yeah, there's a handful of the games in this category that would definitely be a shoe in terms of that stuff. Oh boy. I think for art direction, I'm gonna go and lean more towards like a Shadow of the Erd Tree in
Hmm.
terms of this one because I kind of it's just kind of like a thing of preference, really. It's because I do like the artwork of Fantasio and the artwork for Neva looks great as well. I think that Erd Tree does have a bit of advantage because that gothic sort of horror sort of style is just very striking and very like different as opposed to like say what you're getting with some of the other games here to yeah, it's like Astrobot. It has great art direction, it has great art style, the whole whimsical sort of like cartoonish sort of style to what it has. Then Black Myth Wukong has the good artistral style and stuff of like the ancient Chinese like mythologies and stuff like that. But I just kind of feel like Urchery does have that advantage in this category, so I'm gonna go with that.
Okay. I've talked about. I don't usually get too bothered by nominees. I am totally fine with Erdtree being in Game of the Year. Uh, I have no problem with that. I a little bothered by art direction with Shadow of the Erdtree being here because it's an expansion of a game that already exists.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's I don't know. It's like it's not a new game. It's like it is like in this case, it's like it's a built on of a game, a pre-existing art direction that already exists.
Right.
And I guess like you could argue like some of the enemies and stuff in the game. I guess, but I don't know. That's like the only thing that it's like I'm like it's a minor complaint. That's all. Um,
Right.
Man, Neva is one of the most gorgeous games I've ever seen. Just like I mean, there's a couple of moments I just teared up just because of how beautiful some of the like not even necessarily like, there were sad things or emotion like super emotional things like story wise happening. Just like some of like just like them like zooming out and just showing you the world and like where you're running through and stuff like that was just like beautiful. Along with the music is fantastic in that game. I'm gonna go Metaphor Re Fantazio.
Okay.
So I don't have like a strong case for it. It's like you said, it's a preference thing a lot of times with this. But I feel like as far as like standouts to me, it's like Metaphor and Neva just kind of stand out as their own things
Yes.
from like just like art design. Obviously, this is all about graphical too. Like Wukong is like absolutely gorgeous from a graphical standpoint. But I just as like art design, like to me, like those two like stand out to me. So I'm gonna go Metaphor. Um, but in my heart, I'm rooting for Neva. Um, Best narrative. We have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, Metaphor Re Fantazio, Hellblade 2, and Silent Hill 2.
For best narrative, I think that's going to go to Re Fantazio, only because whenever there's a game of this type that's released, either it being a Persona game or whatsoever, the one thing you can say is how consistent and how intricate the narrative can be in terms for its benefit. I haven't played I haven't played anything in terms of like with Re Fantazio or any of these games here except for like Silent Hill 2, but we pretty much know the story of Silent Hill 2 for the most part.
Yeah.
But as far as for the best narrative, I've heard nothing but good things about the narrative of Re Fantazio,
Mm,
and that's the one I'm going to be going with.
yeah. I beat three of these. I'm playing Metaphor right now. I have not played Like a Dragon. Rebirth, like I really like that game. I have some issues with the story and where kind of things end up at. Hellblade 2, I love that story, but I'm surprised honestly it's here because I think enough people. I was kind of. I mean, obviously that game was built around story and also like the voice acting and stuff like that. But um, I was kind of surprised that enough people I thought just weren't really didn't really care for that game that much. Silent 2, like to be fair, they did like double the length of that game, so like they did a
Uh huh.
lot to build upon it. Uh, I'm it's kind of weird. This is a weird one because it's like we don't have like there's not that major standout. You know, it's not like there's not that God of War Ragnarok. There's not that um, like that Last of Us. There's not that like game that just has this like generational like story as far as like the masses are going to talk about. Um, but I'm probably going Metaphor as well. I think that's probably the one that like, but also like it's such a long game. How many people like might have fell off 40 hours in, So I don't know. But I'm gonna say Metaphor, but like I don't think it's gonna be. I don't feel like super confident about that one. Best game direction. We have Astrobot, Balatro, Wukong, Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor Re Fantazio.
Game direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's kind of a bit of a weird category and stuff like that because it's kind of like intermixes in with like another category here.
Yeah.
Instead of creating vision and innovation and game direction and design. It's so funny. It's like you have all of these games that are like absolutely fantastic and stuff like that, and so vast in terms of either their intricacies or some, or as simple, like say with Balatro and stuff like that, with its look and its this and that. It's just basically a roguelike poker game. But oh god, in game direction and design. It's kind of hard for me to pick just one because it's like I can make the argument for Astrobot, I can make the argument for Re Fantazio for that stuff. I mean, if I had to do and pick one, I think the game design, game direction, and design stuff like that's probably going to go with Re Fantazio,
Okay.
personally.
All right. I'm gonna say Rebirth. I think.
Okay.
Um, I don't have like a strong argument why. But yeah, I don't know. This is like it's just a category where like I don't like I don't know. Like some years like you can definitely see it like like Death Stranding or like God of War Ragnarok or like God of War or whatever where it's like those games are just different. Like they're just shot
Yeah.
different. They feel different. They look different. Like everything about them. Like and like to me it's like they definitely like all these have their own style, but like I would say nothing's like super distinct about them outside of maybe like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. So I don't know. Like like you can make a good argument for all of them, but I'm gonna say Rebirth going on a whim on that one. I think we're on the last category here. Yes, we are. Game of the year. Um,
Hmm.
I believe it's the same six games from game direction here.
Of game direction, yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Astrobot, Balatro, Wukong, Shadow of the Erdtree, Rebirth, and Metaphor Re Fantazio.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if Balatro ended up like winning game of the year?
That'd be awesome. That'd be cool. I think there's like you can make a good argument for every single. Obviously, that's the case most years, but like this case really is like a year where like if none of them would necessarily surprise me.
Honestly, I think the only one that really would surprise me, Balatro, is because you don't really see like an indie style of game like win game of the year when it comes to a lot of the AAA like video games that released alongside it, like say for that particular year and stuff.
Mm.
But God, you know what? This is definitely tough because Astro Block could be game of the year, Balatro could be game of the year. Even like to some people, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is their game of the year because if they're the ones and stuff that have been fans of Final Fantasy VII for so long, a lot of them and stuff, and so it's like more like a dream come true for them.
Yeah.
Um, what kind of concerns me in this category is because they had to include like they went through and clarified that certain like remasters and like DLC stuff would be added into like these game the like in terms of the categories for nominees. I'm so afraid that they're just gonna give it to Shadow of the Erd Tree with it being expansion and causing a huge fucking like ordeal with people.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. That's no matter who wins it, people are gonna be mad. It's the internet. People are gonna be mad on it.
Yeah, yeah, that's why I'm gonna go Re Fantazio with Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Is that's what I feel like it's gonna be going because even though we think that this is going to be close race with like a couple with a lot of these categories and stuff, I think the definite winners coming out of this Game Awards show is going to be Balatro, a Metaphor Re Fantazio, and then Astrobot like in a third.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of feel personally, but I just feel like in this category, Metaphor is definitely the one I feel like it's going to be the most consistent
Okay.
in terms of it, you know,
Yeah.
winning awards.
Yeah, I mean, there's every year that I'm interested. There's every year there's like one or two games that like get nominated a bunch but get shut out, don't win anything. There's always the one
True.
game that like wins every like that wins a ton of cat like Elden Ring a couple years ago like won like everything it seemed like. Um, yeah, like I think what's in like this is kind of a fun year because it's not like most years we go into it and there's like two games usually, or maybe a third in there that like it's like it's it's Red Dead Redemption versus God of War, or it's Ragnarok versus Elden Ring, or it's usually like two like a couple years ago or like 2020 it was like Last of Us versus Final Fantasy. It's like you said like a lot like on this year it's like I've seen a lot of people are super mad. Astrobot, ooh, it's a Nintendo ripoff game. Balatro, it's a card game. Shadow of the Earth Tree, it's DLC. Rebirth, oh, it's a remake. Metaphor Re Fantazio, Wukong, like I said, there's gonna be people who are outraged across the board. I would say every year. I think it's ridiculous. People get mad about
Uh,
anything, and it's a video game awards show. People,
yep.
fucking, it's just be happy it exists. All right, we're not, and honestly, we're all there for the announcements. Let's be honest. We care more when this thing is over. We're gonna be more excited. 3 days later, we're gonna be more excited about what was announced, what was shown off, than the awards. Um, so yeah, to me it's exciting. Like I look at it's like 2019 and 2021 where it's like there was no like standout, and it's like Sekiro won in 2019.
Hmm.
2021 was It Takes Two. So I think it's gonna be one of those years where um like nothing. I don't know. I don't know. Like from like a grand scheme of things, Shadow of the Earth Tree is probably the biggest but it's like I don't think I'm not taking it super like seriously in this argument just because I do think there'll be enough people like God's DLC, so they're not gonna vote for it. But I said the same thing. I said it wouldn't be nominated for that same reason, so I don't know. I'm gonna go with the wild card Gables. I'm gonna say Wukong.
Okay, you're gonna go with Wukong.
I think
Okay.
it's gonna be like It Takes Two type of thing where everybody votes for the other thing, that the votes get split up so much, and like I talked about earlier, where like you look up like the website trafficking for the Game Awards website, it is overwhelmingly China is voting for this thing. So I think they will stuff the ballots enough where like that's gonna win the fan choice of it. I don't think there's an argument there. Um, so I think enough games are gonna get split up here that Wukong will come out as a winner.
I understand in terms of that, in terms of like your perspective, in terms like in for Game of the Year for Black Myth Wukong and stuff. But I kind of feel like that's part of the reason why I think that it's going to go to something else is because I don't feel a lot of the games journalists are going to outright just vote just Black Myth Wukong
Well, I mean,
in
the game
as
journalists are the ones
Game of
that
the
voted it.
Year.
I mean, game journalists are the people that voted it into the nominee in the first place.
That's very true, and that's because of a lot of backlash from the fans in terms of like other stuff happening with that game at the time. But I still feel
I don't
that
know.
that's not going to vote for Game of the
I
Year.
don't think
I still
journalists
feel
voted
like it's
for
going to
it.
be either Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or Re Fantazio,
Okay.
and I kind of feel like that's possibly what's going to go on.
Yeah, but I don't think journalists voted for that. Put Wukong in it as like a thing to like make people less mad at them. So I don't think that's. I think enough people like the game that they put it in there. So so I don't know. I mean, those people are gonna be mad at them regardless of whether or not Wukong makes it in or not. So they were pre mad at those same
That's
people.
true.
They were already pre mad that Wukong wasn't gonna be in there before it got nominated, and now people are mad at them that they're not gonna win it because of those same people. So I don't know. Those people will never be happy with journalists, no matter what they do.
And
So
journalists never will be happy either with what the players want to play.
I don't think. I don't. What do you mean by that?
That's just kind of like what I mean by that, dude. I mean, for example, for a good example, dudes like James journalists and stuff like that, combating with other players, I can understand both sides of the argument. But at the same times, it's just feels more readily to me that in this year in general, a lot of this stuff is just dictated to what the games journalists want to go through and present. And I kind of feel like that for this category, it is going to be between Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Metaphor Fantasio because of the ratings and also because of what personal biases they do have.
I don't know. I guess I got confused by that because like I don't know. Like, would you like necessarily disagree with anything on this list?
I wouldn't disagree in terms of the people. I wouldn't disagree with any of the games on this Game of the Year list. I think this is a good, accurate representation of what should be on here for Game of the Year.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I have no qualms with that.
All right. Sorry. I guess I was confused by the bias part because yeah, I don't know. Anyways, all right. Well, we got to move on. All right. Well, I think that's all right. Cool. We're gonna end it there on that. We'll jump into. Let me. Just gotta do some stuff here. Sorry for the audio for the video people here. All right. Cool. All right. Well, I guess we will jump into what we've been playing. Gables. Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
I'll go first here. Let's see. I've been playing more of the Pokemon TCGP. Let's see. As far as like the card game is concerned and stuff like that, I have played a little bit more battles online. I have done a couple of different like deck types and stuff. I've tried to do a lot of like say with my Charizard and my Rapidash deck, which that one's been doing fairly good. I mean, I've been counteracting a lot of people that have been using Charizard or that have been using like say the Pikachu stuff. But as another thing that I have been doing and stuff for the I'm still getting a bunch of like decent cards and stuff, the free packs and stuff. Three times throughout this week I was able to draw a Pikachu EX. Either a full art one or like just a regular one. And I thought it was really kind of funny because it's like up until that point, the daily stuff that I've been pulling haven't been like as good as I thought. But yeah, and then even like on the Wonder Pick type of stuff, I was able to get like a full art Articuno. So it's like it's been one of those weeks where I've just been just playing lucky, just getting a bunch of these different cards and stuff. I know with the Venusaur like event that's going on right now and stuff, I've been trying to go into those initial like things to try to not just get a lot of excess points and stuff just to gather for resources so I can draw additional packs and this and that. But I'm kind of wanting to try to get a Venusaur EX in terms of that. What's kind of hilarious about it is like there have been times it's like, okay, I've been tempted to try to spend some money in terms of this type of stuff, but at the same point, I'm like, no, I've been getting so much good quality, even regardless of like not putting in any type of like money into it, that it's still really enjoyable. I mean, I'm actually surprised how long I have been going through and playing this game and how much bang for my buck literally I have gotten for it, even without putting any money into it. And the funniest part, I think, in terms of that is I have constructed like about five different decks that have their individual themes and stuff. I've used the Pikachus that I've drawn to enter into a specific electric deck. It has a combination of that with Zapdos and stuff, but the main thing that's wrong with it, it doesn't have any way to sustain itself in terms of energy. Because you'll have specific decks, like say with a Charizard Moltres style of deck, to where Moltres is used pretty much to gather energy for every other Pokemon on the bench. So, Tyler, for example, if you start off a game and you have Moltres EX on the starting thing as your first card, right? And it's clearly the one you want to start with, and then you have a whole bunch of Pokemon on the initial bench. So, when it finally gets to your turn to where you can gather energy and put it on a specific card, you put the energy on the Moltres. It only requires one energy in order to use this special effect to where you can flip a coin like three times, and every head represents a specific type of fire energy you can put on one of your monsters. So by doing that, you pretty much bypass anywhere between 1 to like 3 turns worth of energy and just put it on an either individual Pokemon or the set stretch of what you have on your bench. So what I've been using that for with that deck is like I have a Charmander that's on my bench, right? Well, if I have Moltres that started out and it's got energy, and I get those three heads, or two out of the three, or one out of the three, I put all that energy on that Charmander to where I can evolve it eventually as a Charmeleon and then Charizard EX. And then from there on, I can switch out either the Moltres or just keep it in until it gets knocked out. Granted, I do give away a bit of advantage because whenever anybody knocks out an EX card, they get 2 points out of three that's recommended to win the match. But if I can go and switch out into Charizard, especially if I'm facing off against an opponent that has a weakness against fire, all I have to do is combat their EX with my Charizard. I gather enough energy to do its big old grandiose attack that does like about two it does like about 200 damage, but it requires 4 fire energy. And the result of the ill effect of it is once I use it, I lose 2 energy, so I have to recoup a lot of the energy costs. But with Moltres, it solves that problem because even when I have it out and I gather a lot of energy, I could technically get more than like say 4 energy checked on the Charizard at one point. So I could use that same attack like 2 or possible 3 times in a row if I'm able to get that lucky. So I've used that to face different opponents like during the other special event that was going on with Arcanine and this and that. And I did end up winning like a couple different matches with that. But I kept on losing to people that had combination of say Pikachu style of decks, or there's this one that had a combination of Greninja and also Articuno. Greninja is excellent on the bench because all you have to do is use its ability. And what its ability does, it basically can target a single Pokemon on your side of the bench, and it'll do like about maybe 20, 30 damage to it, or something like that. It's chip damage. So it's like if you just put in a basic Pokemon fresh and it's like maybe 50 or 60, like a health and stuff, unless you can evolve that thing to keep it on the field, you're going to lose a point or two because you don't have anything to counteract a Greninja that uses chip damage from your bench. So with that layer of strategy that's introduced with a lot of these newer cards that are coming out, especially coming into this whole Venusaur like this whole Venusaur type of event, some of the promo cards that are coming out of it are starting to filter into some of the decks for people going online. And then so it's like they have a competitive advantage over some other people. Well, most of the other people that are still just trying to get into it because it's kind of like how you would play a TCG in real life, to where you're only as good as the best card in your deck. And if you don't have something that's going to counteract the current meta, you're basically going to be left with like, oh, okay, I need to improve something, but I don't know what. So pretty much that's it in terms of like Pokemon TCGP. Let's see. I'm trying to think of what else I've played this week because it's been mostly me in between playing that, worrying about fantasy football stuff that's totally unrelated to here. Oh, Thanksgiving stuff, and mostly just buying like a couple of different games and stuff. But I think that's pretty much it. I mean, I can't really think of anything else I've played this past week. But
Okay.
Tyler, what have you been playing, man?
I've just been playing. Oop, I hit the wrong button here. Sorry. So I've just been playing still the one game. I played a bunch of Metaphor Re Fantazio. I am now 36 hours into this game, and it only gets better as you go. I'm having a ton of fun with this game. Like I talked about, um, if you've been listening for a while, like I jumped in like Persona 3 Reload was my first Persona game ever. So second one ever, jumping in just a few months later. That game took me like 80 something hours and like 5 weeks to beat. That was
Yeah.
when I first got injured, so I was home. It still took me that long to finish it. Um, and helps. It's I'm in Iowa and it's cold. It's like 18 degrees outside, so not like I'm going on walks or anything right now, so I'm stuck inside. So yeah, I've been playing a bunch of that. In between like physical therapy and stuff like that. So yeah, I played a good chunk of it. It's only getting better, man. I really like where the story is going. I'm loving, obviously the crux of this game. Like the most important part is more than anything is the characters, and like the people you can like build up relationships with and everything like that, and have the social um, events with and stuff like that. And like they're all fantastic. Heismay, I believe is how you say his name, is one of my favorite characters I think in gaming this year. And I've only I've only had him in my party for 15ish hours maybe, and just like a handful of cutscenes and just talking to him a little bit. I'm like, man, like, in the voice acting is chef's kiss. Like I'm listening, I just listened to this guy the first like talk for the first time. I'm like, this guy should be nominated for game of like for best voice acting or whatever for game of the year. Like he is fantastic, and I'm really loving his story and loving his character. And it is like there are a ton of heartwarming parts with him, and like kind of like what I've dealt with so far. I'm not gonna spoil anything for people. Um, I'm really blown away by the story and like kind of the things they are like the things that they talk about, the things they're willing to like. This game is built about like like all these different races and equality and like trying to get everybody to work together. But like you play as Elda, which is like the bottom of like the tier of like races and everybody like it is like wild out there. Like the people will just say the most fucked up shit like out loud to people like up on the street. Like you're kind of like this party of like everybody's a different race, and it's all about like you're it's like a story about like basically like the king is killed. Like this is the opening cutscene, and it is kind of like a race to like who can take over. Basically, is like a fight for power type of thing, and like everybody has their own like purpose. Like everybody like it's kind of like a thing where like anybody can win it. Like whether doesn't matter your race, doesn't matter if you're rich or poor or whatever. Um, and it's so cool. Like on top of like all these like random characters, like you might only bump into and might only have a few cutscenes with, but like how like just like hearing their point of view of why they want this to be the case. Like one of them like she becomes queen. She was like, I'm gonna put a bounty on every rich person out there. Or like this person's like no taxes. This person's like all alcohol is free, and it's like just hearing their arguments and like some of these people obviously like the no taxes part. It's kind of crazy. Like that there's no alcohol for everybody. Alcohol's free is like okay. Obviously you're like like not like maybe not the greatest argument. Some of these people like have some pretty crazy like ideas, and it's like but like just listening to them like you can understand their like not saying I agree with their reasons, but some of these people like you can understand why how they came to this conclusion type of thing. It's like just kind of are hearing their point of view or like where they came from and like so it's really cool and interesting, but it's like it's just kind of like a wild like game of just like it's just about like every like and you're like this person has just like like you come from like the like consider like the bottom tier race and you just like hey I just want everybody to like be nice to each other type of thing. But like yeah, it's a really great story, and I really like in the cast of characters in this game, and just like I said, the random characters you meet along the way. The combat I like quite a bit, and like just like when you get over leveled, you can just go fight. Instead of getting into like battles with these people, like if you're over leveled enough, you'll just like one hit kill them in the world and get like it's kind of and like you just get like you don't get the full amount of XP, but you get like half the amount I think. But it's like
Okay.
I can get through like I could get through a dungeon fairly quickly because of like I don't have to sit there and go through a battle with everybody, and also I don't have to like because a big part of these dungeons is they're pretty long, and the biggest issue sometimes isn't like oh I'm about to die. It's like just running out of resources. It's like I don't have any more MP to like do my magic attacks stuff like that. That's like the thing. Like I thought I was like about hard lock myself in the first dungeon because I was at the final boss and I had like very little MP left, and I had to like keep doing this boss fight over and over again because like not because I was like dying because of like I was running out of health or potions stuff like that. I was like I had no MP, so like I could not keep up doing enough damage to like overcome like them like healing each other. So like I found like I had to like just it was kind of just more of a luck thing of like me like spending like an hour and a half fighting this guy over and over again, getting stuck in these long battles, just because like it was like the RNG out there of like I just gotta hope I do some critical attacks and do enough damage, and maybe he'll do this move instead of this move, and I can actually beat him, and that's really what it was. Just because, like I said, I went in like did not come in prepared and was not ready for it. But yeah, it kind of went like wasted all of my big attack early type of thing. But yeah, like I'm enjoying this game. I think it's a fantastic story, fantastic characters, great game. I mean, like if you're someone that like these type of games, or if you're willing to put in like 80 hours into a game, and that's like the biggest like, hurdle for people to get over. That's a big hurdle for me. That took me forever to finally jump into these games because of that. But yeah, it's fantastic. So I'm loving it so far. Um, but yeah, I think that's gonna do it for us this week, guys. If you guys like the show, like I said, top show, like, follow, subscribe. We're two guys been doing this for over 11 years now. We have full time jobs. We do this because we love it. So if we don't ask for, there's no way to give us money directly. But if you want, best thing you can do is hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, follow, shares, run everything. There's links down below to like get to all our places quickly. Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube, all that fun stuff. But thank you for listening. I was Tyler.
And I've been Colonel Gables. Until next time, everyone, thank you for listening to another fun filled episode of the Drunk Nerds podcast.
Hey, Gables.
Yeah.
Too sweet.
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.